remember me. I remember you too. You stole my heart, so I'm gonna steal you. For the first time in weeks, I feel good. For the first time in weeks.
Hello and welcome to Show House. My name is Kura Chiota. Today we're going to be doing what we always do. We look around the most interesting parts of South Africa into the homes that you live in and the homes that you want to. We build a bridge from what exists to what you want it to be. We talk about renovations, investment, and give you the best advice. If you'd like us to evaluate your property or you have any questions regarding the buying or selling of your home, email us your pictures and your questions to showhouse@thehomechannel.co.za. If you'd like to join in our conversations, follow us on Twitter @HomeChannelSA as well as on Facebook and use the hashtag Showhouse. Joining me on my panel today, I have Yashina Maharaj. She is the Regional Manager from SA Home Loans out in the East Rand. I have Aidan Bennett from Aidan Bennett Interiors and Mark Banks from, well, around the way.
Around the world.
You're a resident of the Western Cape. What do you know about the West Coast?
Don't know much about the West Coast, but I do know about the West Coast. Their national sports are braaiing and crayfishing.
Yep, sail surfing.
Lots of wind, lots of sunshine.
Darling, cracking bottles of wine, I understand.
Daisies galore, daisies galore. In fact, this shirt is based on a West Coast landscape.
Other good spots are Jacobsbaai, Britannia Bay, Azefontein. It's quite a hot spot.
Paternoster, beautiful. Church Haven.
From an economic point of view, you've got some big anchors out there. You've got Saldanha, you've got the big iron ore mine out there. You must be pretty comfortable lending money to people who work out that way.
We've got good values that range in that area, which obviously helps with our home loan financing. And situated in areas like that, it's always easier because you don't have any factors that might be negative or have a negative implication on the property values, which is always a good thing.
So we took a drive up the West Coast to Darling to see South Africa's darling, if you know what I mean. Have a look at what we chatted about.
You know, I've never really understood the excitement of the West Coast because, you know, I'm from the original Transvaal, now Mpumalanga, grew up in Bethlehem in the Free State. But suddenly having discovered this extraordinary West Coast of South Africa, it is, I suppose, if we made The Lord of the Rings in South Africa, all the hobbits would live here on the West Coast. It has a wonderful atmosphere of uniqueness. It has, of course, the most beautiful scenery in the world, including 1,500 species of wildflowers that you don't find anywhere in the world. And do you know why? It's because the Ice Age never came to Darling. The National Party came to Darling, but never the Ice Age. And so I really have enjoyed exploring this area. I try and take time off and I take my little grandchildren. We go to the West Coast National Park, which is beautiful. Church Haven, Posberg for the flowers. Langebaan, the lagoon, floating around there. It is such an adventure. And I just say to everybody, if you haven't seen the West Coast, you have not seen South Africa.
The West Coast is really special and unique, mostly because each and every town that you will come across along the West Coast has something unique about it.
I live in Langebaan and I actually love the countryside. I love how you can drive for hours and hours and hours and see no buildings, but you see flowers and plants and dunes and the sea. You can stop, you can go dive a crayfish, you can pick limpets off a beach, you know what I mean? It's really special and the people are so friendly.
There are so many things to do in Langebaan. Depending on your interests, I think there's really something for everybody. You've got people jet skiing, kite surfing, there's a casino, people come around gambling. There's even a nightclub called Flamingos, which is almost a constitution along the West Coast. You have to go to Flamingos if you are along the West Coast.
The whole atmosphere of Langebaan, or whatever campsite you're in, is
The West Coast?
The West Coast is brilliant. It is brilliant, really.
If you really are planning to invest time, money is never that important. Time is the most precious thing in the world. Come and explore. Just walk around, breathe the air, look at the sea. Come here in the winter. May machtig, it's mad. Because the storms come from the Atlantic and they come and they scream across the hills and it rains and it is really truly a wild west coast. And every single day you just wake up and you think, hi, lieve aarde, I am the luckiest person in the world because I'm on the west coast of a democratic South Africa.
Having watched the insert, what's your sense of what's really going down on the west coast?
Well, it's a space that's full of family vibes, relaxation. It's a very much a holiday maker's place in my point of view. Obviously, there's a lot of people that live out there, you know, that are employed in the harbours and the iron ores.
Yeah.
Iron oars. The oars are the steel things for the boats, aren't
Yes,
they? The
yes,
iron oars.
that thing, yes.
Latching on to what Aidan's just mentioned, I mean, it would be a great choice for investment or holiday homes for people looking for an escape, a getaway, a holiday destination. So an excellent investment in terms of home loans to actually look at financing there. And we obviously do holiday homes and investment properties.
Peter Ace, I remember telling me once, from his house to the centre of town, 40 minutes.
On a good day.
Just that's
If you
without
take
racing
the
it.
Atlantic Coast Road.
Very, 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 very good road infrastructure, all over the place. Very good rail infrastructure.
Not that you're anywhere near retiring, but
No.
Would the West Coast kind of appeal to you for a more sedentary, relaxed lifestyle?
No, I don't like that stretch of the world. It's too sea for me because you go further, just a little bit further up the west coast, you get west, and then it becomes the skeleton coast. There's a clue. It's just pre-skeleton coast.
The casino has got like a Greek feel around it, or in that area you've got the Club Mykonos. That's introducing like a foreign architecture into what could be something quite dazzling. We know Darling has got the flowers and a natural landscape. How does that jar with you when people are imposing foreign designs in an indigenous space, so to speak?
It depends where you are. I mean, some places like S01E03, there's no sort of architectural dichotomy. But places like Britannia Bay, they've got a very strict manifest as to what kind of houses you can build. It depends where you are. For me personally, if it's a seaside village, the more difference in houses, the better. The more interesting the landscape is, the better. If everything is, the same, I'll have trouble finding which house is mine.
Sure. At one stage, golf course development was the in thing, and a lot of money was spent. A lot of money was lost on investing in golf estates. How are you viewing golf estates? Because the West Coast has some spectacular courses out there.
Kura, we actually like estates because usually you have one developer that has undertaken to develop, or alternatively you have people buying and building in there, but it develops pretty quickly. And due to the security and the enclosed structure, it adds far more value because most people are moving toward security, and obviously with the rate of crime, they want to live on golf estates, and the value there definitely has far more impact than living in a normal residential area.
Tell me, designing for golf course living, right? There's the element, the fairway facing stands are priced, but there's that little issue of little white balls perhaps flying into your breakfast while you're sitting out on the patio. What design elements can you incorporate that have an aesthetic but also a practical sense to them?
I think estate living, large open windows, to take the most of the view in. But then, like you say, that's counterfeited with the fact that you've got these little white balls flying around. A lot of once again patio living, because you're in a nice secure environment. You can spend a lot of time outdoors. I think it's all about the way your house is orientated.
Well, on the other side of the break, we're going to be looking at one of our viewers' questions. We don't want you to lock up and go. Don't go anywhere. Join us on the other side of the break. See you just now.
Looking for a new home? In Woodstock, Hillcrest, Parkhurst, Potchefstroom, Observatory, we are the home loan specialists in every area.
Welcome back to Show House. We're in the segment where we look at a viewer's question, and thank you very much to William for sending your question through. You have a property that looks like this. The property is 2-bed and 2-bath, and it's along a busy road in Orange Grove, Johannesburg. The 2 bedrooms have been done up, the property maintains its old wooden floors, the kitchen has been done to a modern standard with a bit of a breakfast nook feel, melamine counters, the bathrooms are where the issue lies. They've been thought through, but not yet completed. The challenge is, where do you find the 60,000 Rand answer to the question that's going to give you the best bang for your buck? Aidan, you've had a look at the property.
A couple of things, I mean, that stand out immediately. First of all, the kitchen counters. I would put take out the Formica tops, take out that melamine top and put in a solid countertop. The next thing, which is more labor intensive than cost, is the wooden floors, which are, the varnish is starting to peel, so I'd sand those down and then look at putting, a water-based varnish on them, so something that doesn't yellow the floor and try and expose their natural beauty. Then I think the bathrooms, I mean, what do you guys think? It's just the attention to detail,
Yes.
the finish.
And it lacks a bit of color. I think it's a bit bland. It could do with a little bit, maybe just one shade in, just to give it a little bit more tone.
Yeah. Now, we're quite constrained here that William has got his last 60,000 Rand to put into the property.
No.
But where would you say the best place to put that 60,000 Rand is to just uplift that property value?
Paint, solid countertops, and just improving the lighting.
Mark, if we've gone from the Formica to granite, let's say, can
Yeah.
that be a bit cold to the touch?
Cold to the touch, but practical.
Yeah.
Can be economical. Of course, one thing when you're doing renovations on a tight budget, something I've discovered recently, auctions. I don't know if you go to auctions. Aidan Bennett?
No, not really.
No? Auctions.
To buy a
especially-
property or buy furniture?
No, to do up a kitchen or to do up a part of the house that he's doing, to find a granite top, to find something to improve the house.
Granite's good. There's a lot of other composite synthetic stones which are more affordable.
There's a knock test. When somebody walks in, they want to feel that it's substantial.
Oh, they're still incredibly solid, and the modern move to design is the thinner the substrate or the thinner material, the better. So it doesn't have to be 30 mils thick. A nice 12 mil substrate. There's beautiful materials on the market. It's still solid. It's still really elegant, but it's got this beautiful thin look to it.
Yashina, how do I finance home improvements?
Kura, it's wonderful to actually try and access money out of your bond to improve your home. It's always a good idea because it's adding value, and at the end of the day, if you have to sell that property, you're going to get that money back. And from a financing point of view, we would assist a client and coach him on how he would register a higher facility in order to draw or access those funds at a later stage. It would be property value dependent, what the applicant can actually draw out of the bond, but it is a fairly simple process which we help the client through.
That's not a very big property, but the positive aspect of it is that all the doors of all the rooms lead out into at least the garden or the patio or something like that. Do you find that attractive, Mark?
Yes. I think the more open and the more light the house has, the bigger and happier it is. I think that's the secret.
We don't have a garage on the property. It's only 500 square meters. Do you see that as a drawback, Aidan?
I mean, it depends the area. I really don't know the area that well, but if the street parking is comfortable and safe, then I really don't see it as an issue. However, if it's in an area that's troubled by or plagued by crime, then it is going to be a drawback.
The property has a former domestic quarters that's been converted into a cottage or could be used as a cottage. How would that impact an application for finance with you? That I'm buying a property, but it also produces a bit of an income.
If an applicant already resides on that home and is looking at drawing funds out of that home loan, he can demonstrate or declare that additional income from the rental because it would improve his affordability. So it would definitely be a positive to his application.
Does he need to have a lease agreement? Does he need to show you bank statements that the rental is being received at that number?
He would, Kura. We would have to see proof of it. We would have to see the rental being banked in order, again, to adhere to the National Credit Act side of things, that we actually did double check that this income was being banked and received. So we would need a paper trail, definitely.
Now, Aidan, talking about this extra domestic quarters that's now being converted into an income-generating flat, tell me a little bit about the science of designing for small spaces.
Well, each space, really has to be assessed independently. You really need to look at it and then see each individual requirements. But a couple of guidelines one can look at is introducing reflective coverings like mirrors or reflective areas that bounce light.
Yeah.
You can look at opening up window areas to make the maximum amounts of light come in. If there's any subdividing walls, question if you really need them. What is the purpose of those walls, and possibly can you take them down? Obviously you need an engineer to assess if there's structural components of the
And
space.
you need to let your home loan provider know that it's
Definitely.
directly affecting the property.
Definitely.
Yeah, quite right. And then look at putting a light color of paint on the wall. Don't look at anything that's too dark. It's really going to make the space look quite tight and small.
Are you a skylight kind of guy, Mark? Because
Ish.
you can cheat with some light.
I'm not really a DIY man, Aidan, I have to tell you this.
But that's why you got my number on speed dial.
I've got it on speed dial. DIY is always tricky. I was in a store the other day and I asked, where is the DIY section? And they said, we can't tell you, that'll spoil it.
But I think we have to be careful if you're doing DIY, because it could impact your insurance as well if it's
Yes.
not properly done.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, it's time for Price That Property. You know how it works. I asked my panel to write down a number of what they think the property is worth. Ladies and gentlemen, please pick up your boards. If you want to join us at home, follow us on Twitter, tweet us at the Home Channel SA. The hashtag is Price That Property. No copy.
No. I'm
going
just
to have a
putting
commission
neg.
of
I'm
inquiry
putting
if you
neg.
guys have got the
'cause
same number.
prices these days, they always put neg at the end, don't they? I don't know what that means, so I'm just putting neg in as well. Neg.
While my guests work out the price, we're going to take a short ad break. We'll see you on the other side with the correct value and how close they got.
Looking for a new home? In Langebaan, Kloof, Soweto, Hartbeespoort, Nelspruit? We are the home loan specialists in every area.
Welcome back. We're so glad that you could join us because I'm dying to reveal the value of the property. But before I reveal the value of the property, we're going to hear from what our experts thought. Mark, over to you. Can I have the envelope, please?
Yes, the envelope, and for the Plaza Doble and the Rumba in Orange Grove, 2 bedroom, 2 bathrooms, 1.25 million. Neg.
Cash. Money.
Cash in a jar on the bedside table.
All right. Declare to SARS or not?
No.
Aidan, give me a number, please.
Well, I
sir.
guess you always try and price according to what you know, and the house looks very much like a Claremont Weinberg, in the sort of the Western Cape to me. So I was going to go for 1.5 or nearest cash offer.
Neg.
Neg.
Right. There's an agent in between the two of you. All negotiable, all negotiable. Ma'am, bring some sanity to these gentlemen.
I've looked at 1.1 based on the size of the property, based on the finishes, and a stand size of 500 square meters and a floor size of about 200, so I'd go at 1.1.
All right. What you going to tell Mark about how you've devalued the ward, the 150 difference between the two? How are you going to convince him that your number is right and he's wrong?
He said it. He spoke about the area. I don't think the area values actually range that high.
But you see, I built in bargaining. I put 1.25 because then we can always come down to 1.1.
Okay,
so
so
when
he-
I'm selling it, I'll say it's 1.25.
He's still
But I'm
negotiating.
sure you'll be able to get it for 1.1.
if you're
So
good
you've
at
got
it.
1.5 a year looking for negotiation. If I came in at 1.25 or 1.1, are you going to start that conversation with me?
Depends if you're the only offer that's standing.
Sure.
Depends how many offers I got on the table, I guess.
Now, the number that's actually come in is actually 1.5. So
Wow.
the cake is
One
yours.
time I'm right.
Well,
Well done.
Because the thing with prices is you can't go up, can you? If people come in and say, "Well, 1.1, we'll pay that," and say, well, actually, we want 1.5. It's just gone up.
But it could be. When if a property is on show and you've got it at 1.5 and there's a queue of people who want to put in an offer, they might come and people might raise the value. How would you deal with that in terms of the asking price was 1.5, but somebody's coming to you looking for finance at 1.6?
Okay, we would always go with what the signed offer to purchase states. It always goes back to the paper trail. So based on the offer to purchase, we would then finance accordingly. But it might not be a case of what the applicant wants, it's what he qualifies for. Sure. So in terms of affordability and assessments and income, we would then decide, okay, Mr. Client, you actually can only apply for X amount. So.
I didn't quite get an answer from you on where do we put the 60 grand to make this property worth 1.5? What were the three things that you were going to do?
Countertops, sand down the flooring and just put a nice new varnish on, repaint the house, and then just look at the finishes in the bathroom. Just attention to detail. You don't have to redo the bathrooms. The only one other thing I could say is the toilet. It's a freestanding toilet with a cistern. Perhaps you want to incorporate that into the wall. People love a Geberit unit where everything is self-contained, and that would probably up the value of the bathroom as well.
Definitely.
A Geberit unit.
It's called a Geberit, yes.
Geberit.
Yes, Geberit.
You just made that word up. Geberit.
I have not.
No?
We're talking gibberish.
A Geberit.
Talking
Okay,
Geberit.
don't forget the Geberit.
But please can you write the advert for this particular property for us?
Centrally situated, close to all amenities, schools, public transport, and city centre. A
With gibberish.
cozy Geberit contained
Alfresco living.
alfresco living, spacious, well lit, sunny jewel. That's another word.
You know you do pay per word for putting a property adverts.
Jewel, but I would spell jewel D-U-A-L. You see, and I'd leave it with them because jewel is 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. Everything is just 2, so it's a little jewel.
So your tactic is just to spark the ambiguity, just to spark the interest, and they have to come and have a look then.
Yeah.
With a pre-approval certificate.
Yes,
from our
from
friend
SA Home
at
Loans.
SA.
That's
yes,
right.
and I may throw the word cozy in. That's always very nice if it's
with the
not
little,
huge, how
with the
cozy
little
is good.
other quarters outside.
But cozy might imply estate agents speak that it's small.
Yeah.
Having looked at this property, let's take a look at our inspiration of the week.
A corner plot on a golf course bordered by a nature reserve is not a bad place to build your dream home. And this house in Centurion finds itself in just that position. Elegantly modern in design, the home makes use of a variety of natural materials and finishes to help it blend in with its surroundings.
Due to us being so close on the golf course, we're right on the green, and we've got the heritage land on the side. We wanted to create the feeling of the modern rustic look, which is you've got your modern house in the bushveld.
The exterior design is simple, with strong, clean lines and a limited palette of colors and materials. The harder surfaces of the steel and glass are softened by the wooden shutter cladding, which brings not only warmer, more natural colors to the design, but a lighter, more organic look too.
The exterior, we used to have a lot of red brick showing on the outside and didn't give me the warmth, so what we did was we cladded it with wood. We've got the off-shutter look on the outside as well, which gives you the concrete feel. We've got a lot of the steel, the I-beam, and the glass. It's all your earthy elements that are brought into the components of the house.
The concrete and steel construction allows for large, unsupported areas. This made it possible to open almost the entire front section of the home to the outdoor entertainment area and bushveld views. Moving inside, the design is all about open-plan living. The ground floor doesn't cover a huge area, but a sense of space is created by eliminating any dividing walls. The interior mirrors the exterior of the home in the use of raw finishes like off-shutter concrete and exposed brick and wood. To add a burst of color to the otherwise neutral interior, 2 of the walls have been painted with strong colors as feature walls. A number of clever design tricks have then been used to define the different living spaces, including the use of bulkheads suspended from the ceiling. This not only creates visual definition, but adds light to the space, as white bulkheads are more reflective than the raw concrete ceiling. The kitchen area takes this idea even further with a suspended wooden feature, adding a sense of drama.
That's our inspirational property of the week. It's always great to see how somebody just does that little bit extra that brings out the sparkle in a diamond in property. Property investing is all about putting your heart and your mind to work with an expert and great advice, and you get the uplift. I'd like to thank my wonderful guests for being here. They put it together, a great show today. From us and the team here, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.